Over the years, there have been many predictions on the Antichrist, and I figured, well, while we're waiting for the horror ride to begin, I might as well post my thoughts on the man of sin as well. And I think you'll find this interesting, in any case. First, let's go over some of the predictions that I found over the internet and in podcasts and books. Hitler! He was believed to be the Antichrist during World War II. From here on out, Antichrist will be shortened to AC. Now, time has already proven this to be false, unless it's his clone, raised by his rumored daughter, Angela Merkel. I have no idea on the relations. This is just a joke. Har har. All right. The Pope is an AC, but not the AC. The Catholic Church has been named by people as being Mystery Babylon, and if we are going that far, why not blame it all on the Catholic Church by naming the Pope the AC? The Catholic Church will fall with the other churches before the AC rises from the ashes, like the occult phoenix that it is. The Pope and Catholic Church both played their role in corruption, but they are neither Mystery Babylon nor the Pope the AC. King Charles. This is one that I have heard from a few. The thing is, Charlie is part of the Black Masons and would not be in charge of a utopia, even if it's a false utopia. This is where understanding the occult structures of light and dark come in handy. Char is a Black Mason, and this pretty much disqualifies him. Prince William. Willie is another prime candidate, but he'll be removed soon. Willie was apparently a product of union from the incestuous family Charlie and Diana. It's long been known that the bloodlines intermarry and mix with each other, so get over it. Yes, it's gross, but they are evil, so what do you expect? Charlie, the Black Mason, and Diana, the White Mason, united on a special day in hopes to make the AC from their bloodline. This is what makes him a candidate, but not the official AC, because he's been raised by the Black Masons and is disqualified. Before disclosure, Willie will wither with a whimper. Donald Trump. Yes, there are people who actually believe Don T is the AC. Do you honestly believe that the world is going to unite under a public figure that was used to divide the public? Don does bring in the morning light, but in this case, it's spelled differently. Don T is the don't. Don T will be removed during the rise of our next adversary, the former POTUS, Barack Obama. What? Yes. The BO will rise and remove anyone who threatens his throne. But seriously, Don T is not the AC. Barack Obama. The USA will soon be covered in BO. As Joe Biden's character dies off stage with a whimper, and Harris, the character nobody knew before the election, takes over and allows BO to create a new office above the president, because in these difficult economical war times, the Hegelian dialectic requires a solution. Much of the public will cheer over the return of America's beloved BO. BO already told us that he would be fine with a third term, saying, "I'd be fine with a third term if there was someone who would have been a stand-in with an earpiece." The thing about BO is that it hides in the shadows of the Black Masons. BO's role is to stink up the joint and cause more chaos before he's stopped by a savior who will bring in the joy of a wondrous utopia. A utopia that was supposed to come in 2001, but was stopped by the Black Masons when they destroyed the Twin Towers. As the story goes, anyway. BO is playing the role of the villain, where the people are the damsels in distress, waiting to be saved. Before we go to the rundown of our reality named AC, I must also give an honorable mention to AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. I mean, he has AC in his name, people. What else could that possibly mean? Don't be fooled by the pen name Albert Clifford Slater. Is AC just the football coach of the Bayside High, where he was quarterback of the early 90s? Perhaps. Or is it just a ruse while he X's and O's his way to the tippy top? Alright, seriously. The AC is how Satan will be worshipped by humanity. You may ask yourself, why doesn't Satan come himself? The goal is to corrupt man and getting the whole earth to worship man. It's complete corruption. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9 and 10. The coming of the lawless one is apparent in the workings of Satan, who uses all powers, signs, lying wonders, and every kind of wicked deception for those who are perishing, because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. 1 John chapter 2, verse 18 through 22. Little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that this is the last hour. Who is a liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is the Antichrist who denies the Father and Son. 1 John chapter 4, verse 3. And every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh and is not of God, and is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and is now already in the world. 2 John chapter 7. For many deceivers have gone out into the world who do not confess Jesus Christ has come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an Antichrist. There are many fools out there who wanted to be Antichrist, and, scriptural enough, they have become an Antichrist, just not the Antichrist, fueled by Satan. I have heard that the Antichrist could be a clone of Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. We have been told that Ron Wyatt found the Ark of the Covenant, and it had the blood of Jesus Christ on the mercy seat. Ron Wyatt had it tested, and it came back positive. If so, it is possible that a clone could be made, but I don't think that's what will transpire. But I could be wrong. The Antichrist will be a political leader, lifted up by the demonic horde, also known as aliens, and the worshippers of this demonic horde that we know as the ancient bloodlines. I like to call them the incestuous bloodlines. The Antichrist will give the world exactly what they want, and the people will rejoice. This whole setup we have been going through was planted years ago, and to keep the story going, it needs to line up with the World Trade Center, believe it or not. If you follow, and I only mean follow as in read and not believe standpoint, the false flag Operation Q and its anons, then you may know who the AC is already, even if you never really thought about it before. Once the AC is named, you'll slap your forehead and say out loud, "Well, duh!" The AC will be from the White Mason Lodge and rise from the ashes of his death, but the reports of his death were greatly exaggerated. You see, the narration will sound something like this. The White Lodge or White Hats had to protect the leader who will be bringing in or leading the coming utopia. However, the Black Lodge wanted to keep ruling and had their own plan in place, and they tried desperately to stop the leader from bringing in the utopia. Because of the amount of death threats and attempts on the leader's life, a plan was concocted to take the leader out of the public life and into a secret life. Instead of running for office, this leader ran the White Lodge in secret. In order to do this, a very public accident needed to happen, and this was done through a very public report of a plane crash. A plane crash is a typical assassination story because it is logical. A plane crash is hard to argue with. In 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr.'s plane crashed, killing him, his wife, and his sister-in-law. Now, I haven't been following the Q campaign since 2021. I became aware of Q in the summer of 2020 from a childhood friend and studied it. It was apparent that this was an operation to program the public, and I understood its part and had no use for it after that. And the summer of 2021 is when I wrote the first script for the rundown of our reality. My childhood friend still supports this movement, and he doesn't follow the narrow path, unfortunately. Now, if you're in Telegram, just type John F. Kennedy Jr. into the search bar and watch the channels pop up. When the majority of the world find out that John is alive and was the leader of the resistance, he will be loved by the world. In reality, his father was sacrificed at the height of his political career, so that this day would come. Now, I said that we've known who the Antichrist is since 2017, because that's when Operation Q began posting. The Fall of the Cabal, segment 10, goes into the detail of this deception, so I will play this predictive programming video for you. Trust the plan! If you're following this movement, please run away from it.
When everything we've seen in the previous episodes is presented to the public with undeniable evidence, people will be in shock. The normal way to deal with shocking information is to first deny it and ridicule the messenger, then get scared, angry or depressed, and finally accept it as the new paradigm. This will take some time. I believe we're going to need a spokesperson to convey to the world what happened. Somebody who will be believed by everybody, Democrats and Republicans alike. That person cannot be Donald Trump. He will be hated by the Democrats, no matter how much peace he brings upon them. If I were to choose, for the US at least, it would have to be JFK Jr., John as his father used to call him. Loved and trusted by the entire nation, mourned by every American citizen. Too bad he is no longer amongst us. Or is he? When I first heard about the possibility of him still being alive, I thought, oh God, not yet another conspiracy theory. But when I did some more research, I started doubting. This is an aerial photograph of JFK's memorial. That's right, it's a Q. Remember this code? It was engraved in the ship bell on JFK's boat. Where we go one, we go all. JFK was murdered because he wanted to expose and get rid of the cabal. He intended to start with the CIA, just like Donald Trump. He too knew that the CIA had turned into an uncontrollable monster that no president or government could restrain, but he had no idea what he was up against. JFK was assassinated. Nobody will ever forget these pictures. John saluting at his father's funeral. The entire nation mourned. Junior grew up to be a lawyer. He swore he would avenge his father and take his killers to court, even if he had to bring down the government, as he put it. He ran for the New York Senate seat in 1999, as did Hillary Clinton. John would have won by miles. He was born to be the next president of the US. But it wasn't meant to be. On July 16, 1999, his plane crashed into the ocean. There were no survivors. All three on board, John, his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren, died upon impact. Their bodies were retrieved and cremated. The remains were kept in Tiffany blue boxes before they were scattered at sea. The entire nation was in shock. Donald J. Trump was in shock. He and John were close friends. When John died, Trump swore he would finish his mission. He promised he would take the murderers of JFK, Sr. and Jr. to court. He swore to drain the swamp. Could John Jr. still be alive? Is it possible that he staged his own death, knowing there was no way he would survive the wrath of the cabal? The only way to possibly fulfill the mission was to stay low. A master plan was developed, and in the course of 20 years, every single step was analyzed and executed. An entire team was put together with insiders at the top who were willing to give their lives for the cause, the annihilation of the cabal and the liberation of the people. They left hints and clues as to inform those who had already woken up to the truth. Trump communicated directly with the people by means of his Twitter account, thus avoiding the corrupted mainstream media. In every speech and every tweet, he used codes for the QAnons to pick up on. He used spelling errors such as kafefe instead of coffee, referring to a new act about the saving of all social media posts by the president. The act was introduced 12 days after Trump's tweet. He wrote hamburgers instead of hamburgers, referring to people who are below the devil and who commit acts that even the devil would consider evil. He wrote smoking gun instead of smoking gun, referring to the secret, perverted orgies of John Podesta and friends. Trump's clumsy behavior showed his victory over cabal key players. Every move, every so-called error, every little detail was important. Everything was a communication with the people. Remember when Donald and Melania Trump were welcomed by the Obamas at the White House on day one of Trump's presidency? Remember the gift Melania gave to Michelle? The Tiffany blue box? What does that remind you of? Remember the Tiffany blue coat Melania was wearing? So many references to JFK Sr. and Jr. There's one more clue that John might indeed have staged his own death. In September 1995, he founded and edited a glossy politics lifestyle magazine called George. In this particular edition, the cover seems to be giving a lot of clues. Survival Guide to the Future? Interesting. Bill Gates on world domination? Okay. Hillary Clinton, Indictment Day. Will Hillary get busted? Wow! The lady reappears in the editing room. In the background, there she is. Platform 2020. That's the year of the next presidential election. And then it reads, buckle your chin strap and hold on as George enters the time warp and re-emerges in the year 2020. Time warp? Is this John communicating that he will reappear in 2020? If John is alive, would he show himself to the public from time to time? Disguised, of course, yet clear enough for the Anons to see? Meet Vincent Fusca. Presented to the public as a Trump enthusiast and volunteer at the Trump rallies. Now I know, he's not the spitting image of John Jr. Different nose, different mouth, not quite as handsome. But hey, if they can make Eddie Murphy look like this, everything is possible, right? Bear that in mind. Vincent Fusca does not seem to have a past. No old pictures, no family tree, nothing. He suddenly appeared. His name means Conqueror of the Dark. He often wears a fedora hat, very similar to JFK Sr. And this I find interesting. His nose changes. Sometimes it's bigger than John's, sometimes it's not. Now I can understand why John would change his appearance slightly from time to time as to give hints to the QAnons. But why would a Trump fan do such a thing? Then there's the mystery lady in the audience, always close to Fusca. My, doesn't that big smile look familiar? What about Lauren, Carolyn's sister? The two were very close. Maybe Carolyn didn't want to disappear without her? Maybe she was informed on the plan? And maybe she decided to join them and stay low as well? Could this be Carolyn, presented as Fusca's colleague at the rallies? When Q was asked, is JFK Jr. alive? The answer was no. But when Senior dies, Junior no longer is Junior. The question should have been, is JFK alive? Where does all of this leave us? With the perfect spokesman when he is needed. And that may be sooner than you think. As soon as the FISA documents are released, the sealed indictments are unsealed, and the arrests are made, that's when I expect him to step forward. The world is in the middle of the greatest transition ever. An entire era of suppression of the masses is about to end. I doubt if we can fathom the vastness of what is about to be revealed, nor the impact it will have on the world. Think about it. World peace to start off with. That's literally what Trump said to a reporter who asked if he'd be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The prize will be world peace. Can you imagine a world without war? I don't think we can. We've been led to believe that war is normal, that it's part of being human. Well, it's not. Suppression isn't normal. Poverty isn't normal. There's enough food to feed the entire world. The problem is uneven distribution of means, money, and food. Taxes aren't normal. They're not even legal. Trump has already stated he will get rid of the Fed and several taxes, including income tax. As we've seen in Part 2, they are illegal, unconstitutional. Can you imagine how much money can be saved that way? Can you even begin to imagine what even distribution will look like? Then there's the impact all of this is going to have on our use of energy resources. I'm sure you've heard of Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor of many beautiful things in the area of electricity, magnetism, and physics in general. An absolute brilliant mind who wanted to share his invention of free energy with the world. This was a thorn in the side of the cabal, who made billions of profit with oil, coal, and other fossil fuels. Tesla was arrested. His work was stolen. All his inventions were seized by the American government. John Trump, Donald's uncle, was a brilliant physicist, electrical engineer, and inventor. During World War II, he joined the National Defense Research Committee. In 1943, he reviewed and analyzed the Tesla papers right after Tesla died. That's right, Tesla's inventions on clean and free energy, on anti-gravity, and on much more that has been kept hidden from the public because there was no money in it, fell into the hands of Donald Trump's uncle, whom he loved and greatly admired. Guess how that fits in Q's plan to save the world. Oh, and there's one more thing. Take a look at this picture. Doesn't John Trump remind you of someone? Somebody very important in the truth movement? Julian Assange. Could he be John Trump's son? Donald Trump's cousin? Let's put it this way. Nothing surprises me anymore, and it sure makes sense. And bearing in mind all the magnificent inventions of both Nikola Tesla and John Trump, I wouldn't be surprised either if they had invented a time machine. After all, if you can bend space, which was definitely within the reach of Tesla, then you can change time. If quantum physics is correct, if you can really jump from one timeline to another parallel one, you can time travel, change certain things and go back without people noticing a thing. Unless you leave clues behind, like a magazine that seems totally out of place. Like Q predictions of specific outcomes that could impossibly have been foretold, not even with the use of quantum probability theory. Is that how Q works? With direct knowledge of the future through various timelines, probability waves? Is that why Trump is still alive? And even missile attacks have been countered? Is this how Q manages to predict exact poll numbers and events to the minute and second precise, as encoded in the Q drops and the Q clock? Is this how the mysterious author Ingersoll Lockwood was able to write a book in 1889 and another one 4 years later about young Baron Trump and his adventures through a space-time portal guided by a man called Don, the master of all masters? All current topics are in the books. Dirty politics, an unexpected candidate, a man called Pence, Russia, even the exact location of the Trump Tower. 1889? The mysterious author also wrote a book about the last president. Furthermore, his name appears on a watch, the Ingersoll Trump Pocket Watch. The same sort of watch used by the White Rabbit in Alice of Wonderland, a tale often referred to by Q. Time travel? The world as we know it is about to end. What is awaiting us is a new era of peace, liberty, equality and harmony. The dawn of the golden age as described in each and every source text. I have grown to fully trust Don, master of all masters. He may seem rude, clumsy and silly from time to time, but he has earned my trust in the past 2.5 years when I suspiciously followed his every move. He is a genius, a 5D chess player, a man with a huge heart. There will be a relatively short bridge period between the two in which people can adjust to the new paradigm and its energies. I don't think there will be much chaos. Everything is ready to be implemented. A new banking system without interest, new ways to educate our children, a new medical system without poisonous addictive chemicals, and so on and so forth. All we have to do is be patient, watch everything unfold, trust the plan, do whatever we can to help others wake up, and remain focused and ready to assist, ready to help create a beautiful new world. Some people will wake up faster than others, remain calm and in service to all. Or as Q once put it so beautifully, as long as you sleep, we will fight for you. Where we go one, we go all.
So if you watch the segment, you'll see that the Q evidence planting has been around for a while. The Mandela effect or the quantum effect is in full force, and John is bringing in the false utopia that the world will cheer for because of the Black Mason World War III operation, order out of chaos. When the utopia comes, there will be few real Christians left.